been a while since we've visited the enigma that is Inlet Square Mall in the south section of Garden City. So let's go in, let's do an update, see what's open, what's new, and just get a general feel of the state of this mall, which in my book it's dying, but life could be breathed into it. It's all dependent on the tenants. And speaking of the tenants, this is what was Frank's Theater, which when it opened several years ago, it was thought to be the saving grace for this mall, or at least that's the vibe I got, but it didn't last long. Also, in this mall, there is no music playing overhead. It is eerily quiet. It's basically the footsteps of the mall walkers. That is the audio track for this mall. If you want to think really far back, this here was a hallway that used to continue before they built Frank's. There's a Piccadilly back in this corner and a movie theater at the end of the hallway. And on the right side of the hallway, which is where the bowling alley was now, was an arcade. But that was ages ago, many moons ago. The right here, there was a Corrado's Pizza. Straight ahead, there was a Chick-fil-A, which has been many things since. That was the food court. There is no food court technically now. If you want something to eat, you have to go into the Books A Million and get a muffin or something. This is interesting. Even though this mall is, from what I could tell, relatively dead, I filmed this on a Saturday. So technically there should be some people here, but there's not. And they have a pretty sweet setup for the holidays. Even got a fan for Santa there because, in the South, Santa needs a fan to cool off. You can see the remnants of the Reed's Jewelers sign here on this this corner unit right in the middle of the mall. And that was a Claire's, I believe, which is now also empty. Over here, we've got some interesting boutique and local establishments. This is some sort of massage therapy facility. Next to it, this was an interesting little cubby. They always had real estate flyers and advertisements in this box that used to sit in the middle of this space. Next door to that, there's a little photography and designs local place. It wasn't open at this time, but it is a functional establishment. And next to it, at first I wasn't really sure what was going on, but this is used for scheduled meetings. There's an HOA meeting going on at the time, which is pretty interesting. And all the kiosks in the middle of the mall are empty. None of them are functioning. There's another locked up unit, 2 units that are empty. And the mall walkers. That's pretty much the only people that we witnessed. There's the old Hibbett Sports. When I was younger, I spent a few dollars in that shop. It's awkward how they have it half closed. And that's where the old sign used to be. Now here's an interesting use of a really large space. This was a Kirkland's department store, and now it is used as a local church. Let's see, get a little fuzzy there. There we go. There's a train parked over there too. So that's interesting. That is actually not the only church in the mall. There is another one. We'll swing by it later. So, like I said, interesting use of a vacant space. Speaking of vacant space, there's some more. There's the old bookstore. And still kicking, Belk. I really dig the grass design on the back of these chairs. Also, old school vending machines, gumballs, little quarter toys, things like that. Here's the other side of the winter wonderland that we saw earlier. Like I said, it's kind of impressive that they do that for a mall with such low traffic. A neat local shop tucked away over yonder. That's DJ's decals and t-shirts. It's interesting. It's like a pop culture kind of shop. You can get your comic books, your graphic t-shirts, anything geek related. But that being said, geek related doesn't really mean geek these days. It's really just pop culture. It's next to what was the JCPenney. You can see from the signage here that this was the JCPenney, and it's located right next to it. This shop is interesting because the couple that runs it actually runs the local Comic Con that takes place at that empty JCPenney we were just looking at. I stopped in and spoke to the owner for a few minutes, and he mentioned that they're thinking of doing 2 Comic Cons this coming year, so that's really interesting. They also have their own in-house graphic designer that designs all their t-shirts for them. So these are one-of-a-kind shirts if you stop in here. So this is kind of the hidden gem of Inlet Square Mall, in my opinion, from this trip. And there is the second church located within Inlet Square Mall. Again, interesting use of empty square footage. As we go down this hallway, there's Planet Fitness. This is probably the biggest moneymaker, I imagine, for the mall. I could be wrong. There's still Belk around the corner. But as you walk down this hallway, there's some inflatables that you can rent for your kids, you know, by the hour or whatnot. At the very end of this hallway, it was a Kmart and a dollar store. That was the dollar store. Now it's a phone accessory shop. There's the Kmart. And if you're still in the market for fidget spinners, this place has you covered. Boom. This was the entrance to the old Kmart. You can't access this area via the inside anymore. You have to go around outside to get into what's now the bargain warehouse, which is a little awkward, but at least that space is being utilized by a tenant and it's not just vacant.